Back when I was little, in the Bronx, he used to have this garage where basically Steve Jordan lived on that block. Will Calhoun from Living Color lived on that block, and everybody used to jam. So I used to sit, in his lap, and they'd be playing. Yeah, the King of Beats. Yeah, we were. That was our shout out to R.I.P. to Errol Bedward, the late great Pumpkin.
So what is it about the guitar that you wanted to kind of conquer? You wanted to perfect that craft.
Yeah, for me, I think the best way to put it, I was born with it, because it was like my mom, when she was pregnant, she always told me, she was like, every time I would hear music, I would kick in her stomach.
What were the kind of inspirations for you that were inspiring you on guitar?
Oh, one and only Jimi Hendrix. It starts with him first, and then everybody else. Yeah, I mean, the first thing, for him, I was like, he was the groundbreaker. Like, everything that he did, he changed the game on everything. Just from flipping the guitar backwards and playing that style, not having, you remember, he didn't have no crazy effects. That was the first hip hop, and he was the producer. So a lot of people don't know that. So he was at the forefront. That's the first hip hop record ever.
He was saying how he would, listen back to the tracks and play. Well, I'd be right with him playing drums. So when we played Jimmy stuff, I would study Mitch Mitchell stuff.
Like, I've looked into it. You've worked with some incredible artists.
Yeah, a lot of people. Just to name a few: John Baptiste, Daniel Caesar, Robert Glasper, Georgia Ann Meldrew, Anderson .Paak, Victor Bailey, Sandra St. Victor. So many different artists all over. Yeah, Jose James. Yeah, Pete Rock.
Do you know what? I was an addict. I was a vinyl addict.
Yes.
I would love to play.
He was a vinyl.
I would need.
Vinyl head.
I would need.
One person's doing something, try to bring the whole family into it, because we're about the music and about everybody moving forward. And, those relationships are very important to us.
So lights, camera, action. On this week's show, I have 3 creatives in the world-class, iconic BlackCab, who have come to visit the big smoke of London town from the Big Apple of New York. We have guitarists who's worked with legends like Pete Rock, Robert Glasper, and many, many more, who pushes the limits of playing the guitar to another level. We have Marcus Machado in the back. Yes, Marcus.
Yeah, what's up, man?
It's an honour to have you in.
Thank you.
Thanks for having me. And also the super talented music producer, DJ and co-creator of Quality Sounds TV. We got Vicky in the back.
Hey,
yes, Vicky, it's an honour.
Pleasure to be here.
It's a real honour. And last but not least, someone who's grown up with incredible music, who's a journalist, a manager, and so much more, who pushes artists forwards and brings so much positivity. She's a powerhouse of personality and is an absolute shining star. We have another trailblazer in the back of the cab, the one and only Maishah Hendrix in the back.
Yes,
Maishah, it's an honour.
Thank you.
It's an honour to have you in the iconic cab, and I can't believe we've actually made this happen.
Yes. Thank you, Prit. Shout out, Prit.
Yeah, and that's the first thing I was going to say, actually. I want to give a massive shout out to Prit Casis. Prit is obviously a friend. He put us in touch, and he's once again, a real trailblazer, an incredible filmmaker, music producer, and also photographer as well. He's a real huge talent.
Right.
So you guys are quite close as well, aren't it?
Yes, we go back to First Priority Music days, so yeah.
Oh, really? All the way back then?
Well, he I met him through King of Chill from First Priority Music. He was working on Looking for the Perfect Beat documentary, and King of Chill and I were in the studio at premieres, live from headquarters. And so he went ahead and interviewed me too, and that's how the friendship. He's my brother now, but that's how that began with Prit.
Yeah, I'm surprised Prit hasn't blown up. He's such a talent. I think if Prit lived in the States, he would be like, he would blow up. But he's such an incredible talent. And a massive shout out to Prit Casis. So yeah, before we kind of get the show on the road, what brings you guys to to London? What are you doing in the Big Smoke?
Oh no, we're here for shows and just the vibes and stuff. Recently just played at Ronnie Scott's. We did Soul Kitchen last night. We was in Switzerland for the Solitude Festival in Geneva, Switzerland. What else we did? We did Chip Shop,
Box Park,
we did Box Park, Croydon for the QSTV's event. So it was like a mashup. This was like the best week ever. So we don't want to go. So this is our second home.
And what I was going to say, what do you what do you all think of London? You must love it here.
Oh man, it's horrible. It's horrible. No. It's the best. It's the best. Like I said, I used to live in Amsterdam for a couple of years, and I used to come back and forth here a lot. And it's just like New York. I love it here. This is my second home for sure.
Yeah, no, it's a special place. You know, you was also in Switzerland as well.
Yes.
Tell me about that. I mean,
it was crazy. It was crazy. That was my first time actually in Geneva, Switzerland, and just the crowd and just the energy, and it was so nice. You was there for one day. We saw Ghostface Killer and Capadonna, and then the second night was us, and then tonight is yesterday was Loose Ends. So it was just like 4-day festival of like great music and great artists and creatives. So no, we had a lot of fun.
Yeah, well, that's the thing about music. You know, it doesn't matter where you're from. It touches your soul, doesn't
Absolutely.
it?
Yep.
You know, music really is the universal language.
Absolutely.
Yep.
And you could listen to a track in another language, not understand what they're actually talking about, but you could feel that groove,
You can still
innit?
feel it connect
Feel
to
that
it.
love and connection to
Yep.
it.
Yep.
Also, you know, quickly talk about Jimi Hendrix as well. You know, he loved the London BlackCab. And I've seen photographs of Jimmy, you know, in the back of quite a few London black taxis.
Yep.
You know, and he like lived and visited London many times. And there's also a blue plaque as well on Brook Street, which is near New Bond Street in the West End, where he lived for a year.
Yep.
And that's quite an incredible place. So you've been inside?
Yeah, I played it a couple of days at Handel and Hendrix in his apartment. So
Tell me about that.
Oh, it was amazing. I did it actually the first time back in 2017 when they opened up, like a couple months after they opened up, and I was like, man, just to see like all of his stuff and just how the way they have everything preserved. And then I asked him, I was like, do you guys do any performances or anything like that? And then, make a long story short, I ended up performing a couple songs, and then now I was part of the Handel and Hendrix sessions, and that was back in 2017. And then fast forward to now, you know, when we arrived like a couple days ago, we went to Handel and Hendrix and just spent like a few hours there, and you know, I played for like an hour, and it was just his vibe, his energy is still in that place. You can feel
the spirit.
it. Absolutely.
You feel the spirit, yeah. And I know Prick captured an amazing photograph of you as well, like looking into the mirror.
Yeah,
That's kind of special.
Yeah, I'm still trying to soak it all in. It was a lot. It was an amazing moment. Yeah,
that was kind of special.
Yeah, I love that picture. The vibes, like he said, it was just it's hard. It's no words.
Yeah.
And I will be taking you over to 34 Montague Square, because I know Jimmy lived in a Ringo Starr's flat in Montague Square, and quite a few photographs of Jimmy were taken around that square. So it'll be amazing to obviously take you over there, because I know obviously, you know, I think he wrote one of his tracks over there as well, which was quite incredible as well. But also, you know, Jimmy was over in Newham as well, wasn't it? And he wrote Purple Haze over in Forest Gate, and there's a blue plaque over there as well.
That's where the mural is that I was telling you about.
Yes, an amazing mural. I looked it up. It's incredible.
Yeah, the young lady that was involved in that project actually came to Handel and Hendrix, and when we were there last week, and visited us and invited us to come back down to the mural when we're back.
What I might do is pull off now and then head over there, and we're kind of carry on doing the cab chat as we're on the move, like a proper traditional London cabby.
This is fine. This is fine.
Well, I'll tell you what then, so let's talk about, you know, you guys, whereabouts are you from? You from Brooklyn?
Brooklyn, New York.
Yeah,
So
wicked.
Hey.
What era was you kind of all growing up in? I mean, obviously, Marcus, you're in your 30s?
Yeah, late 30s, yeah.
I'm early 30s.
You're early 30s?
Early 30s, yeah.
And what kind of, what was you growing up on, the hip-hop sound?
Well, basically, both of us, we got exposed to so much great music because of our mom. She had all types of records, so all different genres. So not just like hip-hop, but, you know, jazz. So like from Coltrane to, you know, Miles Davis, and then you go into Hendrix, and you go to Stevie Ray Vaughan, and you go into, you know, Parliament, Gap Band. It just goes down the line. And then the hip-hop stuff more so that's Marcus. He put me more so onto that, and our other older brother put us on this stuff. So me just getting exposed to so much different stuff, and that kind of formed my musical taste.
And what what kind of hip hop was you was you digging? I mean, there's so much
everything
wicked hip-hop.
from Outkast to Jay-Z to Biggie to Wu-Tang to everything. Like, yeah, so from all 90s hip hop to early 2000s with 50 Cent and G-Unit and Dipset, all that stuff. And then on the beat side, from Dilla to Madlib, all these different iconic producers, listening to all of that like really helped form my musical taste. Yeah,
Marley Marl as well. I mean,
Yeah.
Mantronics. I mean, there's so
Pete Rock,
many.
all types of, great
And then
talent.
also too, our family, as far as the hip hop side, our cousin was the late great Pumpkin.
Yeah.
So
What,
the
Pumpkin All-Stars?
Yeah, Pumpkin All Stars.
No.
That was
What,
our
King
cousin.
Singing the Beat?
King of the Beats, the
Yeah.
That's one of
original,
my
the original
most
King of the
favourite
Beats.
tunes.
Yep.
Yeah, that's our
The
cousin.
original King of the
No.
Beats. Yeah. So back when I was little, in the Bronx, he used to have this garage where basically Steve Jordan lived on that block. Will Calhoun from Living Color lived on that block, and everybody used to jam. So I used to sit, in his lap, and they'd be playing, and I remember vividly a little bit of stuff in that garage. But yeah, the King of Beats. Yeah, we were. That was our shout out to R.I.P. to Earl Bedward, the late great Pumpkin. Yeah. So as far as like hip hop, it came from that, and then my older brother, he was a producer into beats too as well. So like everything from KRS-One, Kid Capri, the mixtapes, the Funk Flex mixtapes, Stretching Bobbito. Like we used to listen to all of that late at night. And then it was funny because, as I got older and I got into stuff that I liked, and then Vic came along, and then she was putting me on to like, Kid Cudi and Wiz Khalifa and all that. So it's like a generation of different Neptunes and so it's a generation of all the stuff. But pretty much for us as a family, we grew up on everything. There wasn't no one genre. So, it's like the more genres, same thing as hip hop, Tribe Called Quest, Slum Village, all of that stuff. So, we grew up on everything, and then it could go to rock, like, Nirvana, Soundgarden, Stone Temple Pilots, the 90s era. Then, of course, Prince, Funkadelic, D'Angelo, you name it,
all
Weather
the soul
Report,
stuff, yeah.
all the soul stuff. So, for us, with our music, we just try to put all the different genres that we know and make it our own
Make it
thing.
our own thing. Yeah.
Well, do you know what? I think, the great thing about, especially hip hop music is, back in the day, we was digging for like samples and we was checking out samples on certain records. So what that was kind of doing for us was opening up and expanding our musical taste because, film soundtracks or horror soundtracks, kung fu films would be sampled, as well as, old jazz tracks or old funk tracks or, classical music. I mean, that's hip hop. It's turning a little sample from something that can be this huge, iconic track.
Right.
So it was kind of expanding our musical knowledge.
Yep.
Absolutely.
Did you ever go like crate digging or anything like that?
Of course.
Where was you crate digging?
Man, it was all over. I so many different places. My brother, he was the one that had all the records, so I would go in the room and steal all his records and then make it my own. And then my mom, it really started with her because
She had the records.
She had all the records. Like, a lot of that stuff got lost now, but like her record palette was like crazy, you know what I mean? So, we used to always go to like in the Village and Canal Street, and they used to have these old spots that where you can find the records and stuff. So we try to do that now, but our suitcases are too small for
Well, it's all well, it's all about the MP3 stick now, isn't it? Whack it in the computer and off you go. You got like 100,000 tracks.
You can just go on YouTube and get whatever and look it up. It's kind of quicker now with the internet, just to look up what you need.
But you can't.
But it's different, vinyl, like physically having a vinyl, yes.
You can't beat the vinyl. I mean, the smell of it.
Yeah.
You get the picture disc, the
everything,
artwork,
the credits, the crackles, the
like
whole.
you skip sometimes, scratches. So,
that was the thing. Like with the vinyl, is like if you didn't know an artist, you had to go through the record to find out if it was good or not. I feel like now MP3, everything is so fast paced. You just skip through tracks, and the vinyl is like if it was a bad album, then you had to go through each song to figure it out. So.
And Marcus, you know, going into the guitar thing, because I know you're an incredible guitar player, and I think you picked the guitar up. Was you like saying like 2 years old?
Yeah, I picked the guitar up at 2 years old. Professionally, been playing since 9 years old. So yeah, I've been in clubs since 9 years old. Yeah.
So what is it about the guitar that you wanted to kind of conquer? You know, you wanted to perfect that craft.
Yeah, for me, I think the best way to put it, I was, born with it, because it was like, my mom, when she was pregnant, she always told me, she was like, every time I would hear music, I would kick in her stomach. And then, when I was 2 years old, our father was around, and he had instruments and stuff laying around, and, they said that one day I just crawled and just started playing, picked up the guitar and just started playing. And from that moment, I just never put it down, for me. And then, 9 years old, doing my first professional performance and getting a standing ovation, for me, that was like the trigger of like, this is what I want to do for the rest of my life.
How did that make you feel when you got a standing ovation? That must have been one of the biggest highlights.
Yeah,
for you.
for sure. I mean, for me, it was, words couldn't, describe it. It was just pretty much, I was like, man, I want to do this for the rest of my life. I don't want to do nothing else but music, and I've been on that journey ever since. So, and that's what it's all about.
How often was you playing? Was you kind of like on it pretty much from when you woke up to when you went to sleep?
Yeah,
it was like,
I mean, after school, you did your homework, and then for 7-8 hours, I would play.
Wow.
And I would sit there, and I would have my mom's records or cassette tapes, and if I wanted to learn something, I would play the tape back and, okay, how's this part go? And just learn by ear all those parts. So that's I feel like that's how I developed the ear to like listen to different stuff and kind of pick it up fast and stuff like that. Yeah.
It's like alien magic. Alien magic.
Alien magic. Yeah.
And in terms of inspirations, I mean, what were the kind of inspirations for you that were inspiring you on guitar?
Oh, one and only Jimi Hendrix. It starts with him first, and then everybody else. But it was Jimi.
Jimi was the man.
Yeah, Jimi was the main person. Like, I think when I was like 4 or 5, the first record that I ever heard was Electric Ladyland. Like, my father played that, and then Band of Gypsies, and then he was the main person out of far as the guitar playing. And then after that, then it was like, of course, Prince, Stevie Ray Vaughan, Wes Montgomery, Benson, Carlos Santana, John Scofield, all the great Eddie Hazel, all the great Muddy Waters, Albert King. Then I started to, I was like, okay, if Jimi sounds like this, where did he get his inspirations from? So then I went down the rabbit hole of the blues and all of that stuff, and then I was like, wow, it's a whole different world out here. But the thing was, there was no MP3 or YouTube to pick up. You had to
you had to pick the guitar up.
You had to pick it up.
Grassroots.
Yeah, you had to really learn, and if you went to the music store, you had to go through the records and listen to what it sounded like, and found out who these artists were. So yeah, but for me, the inspiration was so many different guitar players, but the first person was Jimi, for sure.
Yeah, absolute legend. And also, Jimi was actually he was left-handed, wasn't he?
Yeah.
So I don't think he could find a left-handed guitar. So I think he used to flip it.
So you took guitar, flipped it backwards, and then restrung the guitar. And so because there was no left-handed guitars back then, so yeah.
And what was it about Jimi that kind of, stood out? Because I know he was very, very experimental, and he'd use like the what do you call it? Like different techniques and.
Yeah. I mean, the first thing, for him, I was like, he was the groundbreaker. Like, everything that he did, he changed the game on everything. Just from flipping the guitar backwards and playing that style. Not having, you remember, he didn't have no crazy effects. He just had big Marshall amps, a wah-wah pedal, and a fuzz pedal, and that was it. All those sounds that came from his hands, and tone and all that. And then, as far as his, besides his guitar playing, but his songwriting, studio stuff, the way he produced stuff, guitar reversing stuff and mixing, like all of that stuff played a huge part of him as an artist, And then a lot of people don't know, even though he came over here, but he was with Little Richard and Wilson Pickett, Isley Brothers, from that whole blues circuit before he came over to London. So he just took all of that stuff what he had and made it his own over here. You know what I mean? So, you know, for him, I mean, and then he did all of this in 4 years. So there's nobody to this day that did what he did in 4 years, and he was even at his prime. So for me, that's like, you can only try to take what you learn, you know, you learn from him and make it your own. You know what I mean?
And also, you know, back in 1969, it actually was November 1969, he done a track called Derrilla du Fontaine, which was recorded in Jimmy's studio in New York, the Electric Lady.
Yep.
And you had Lightning Rod, who's Jalal from the Last Poets.
Yes.
Doing like a kind of spoken word, or like you could say like early rap. That was
the first hip hop, and he was the producer. So a lot of people don't know that. So he was at the forefront. That's the first hip hop record ever, not Sugar Hill Gang and, you know, A Rapper's Delight. That was the first hip hop record, and it was produced by Jimi, which is crazy. Which is insane. So he was doing all of this in between touring.
And what year?
This is 69. 69.
Yeah. November 69. 55 years ago.
That's insane.
Crazy.
Yeah. And Buddy Miles on the drums.
Yep. Buddy Miles, Billy Cox on bass.
That's an absolute groundbreaking track.
Yeah.
And Jalal, you know, what an absolute legend as well.
Yeah.
From Last Poets.
Yep. Unbelievable.
Way ahead of the game.
Unbelievable.
Way ahead of the game.
I'm still learning myself. I didn't even know about it.
It's great. First hip hop.
I know.
And Maishah, you know, how did you get into like journalism and start managing artists? How did you get into all that?
It actually all started when Milk D and I were in high school together. I sat behind him in physics class, and he said, "We're starting to come. Do you want a job?" I'm like, "Okay." I think I was 16 years old. Then my first gig was doing MC Light's paper thin video, and then we were doing like quote unquote guerrilla marketing back then. It was on internet, so that's how I started. And I went to school for journalism, so I actually was a reporter for a while. And I kind of went back and forth, and I started my PR firm, and Marcus was actually a client first, PR client, and somehow ended up managing him. And here we are. And I also managed several other clients, but it's been an epic journey, and I don't know, I'm just grateful. I feel like I'm surrounded by a lot of really talented people, and I'm just grateful to be able to work with them. And as I'll say, it's absolutely an honour and incredible to have you guys in the cab. In terms of, you know, pushing the artists forwards, you know, like what kind of, you know, advice could you kind of give them, you know? Just keep on keeping on. What you answer that?
Study your craft, you know, just really study your craft, and just learn from the great ones and study how they do. Just like how Marcus was just talking about with Jimi, and just with Jimmy's, how determined he was, how much drive he had. And like Marcus said, he wasn't even in his prime, and he just did so much in such a little time. So just learn from that, you know, and study the greats and just perfect your own craft, I would say. You know, it's really important.
And I was like, Vicky, you're also a music producer as well, aren't you?
Yeah.
Tell me about that.
Yeah, no.
What style of music?
So I started out with music that's from playing drums. So I actually was a drummer first. And I started playing drums when I was 5. And like Marcus was saying, how he would, you know, listen back to the tracks and play. Well, I'd be right with him playing drums. So when we played Jimi stuff, I would study Mitchell's stuff. And I would study how he would play. And Marcus would be studying Jimi stuff. And besides, you know, Hendrix and other genres of music we would listen to and just kind of like study them and play it and try to see how we can, you know, do our thing. And then once I got into high school, that's when I got into like beat making and learning production and stuff like that. So I started out on Reason 3. A good friend of ours, Peter Panic, he left equipment for us. So Marcus used to do session work as a teenager at Peter Panic's studio. And he had all this equipment that he was giving away. So he was like, hey, you guys want this stuff? So we were like, okay, we'll take it. And that pretty much changed my life in a way, because that's how I got into production. Reason 3 was on this old Dell computer, desktop computer. And Marcus was like, I'm going on tour. You should, you know, get into making beats. Like, why don't you do it? And I kept saying, no. And then he went on tour, went on his first tour in Amsterdam. And while he was away, I just kept making music, kept creating. And then when he got back, I had like about 1 or 2 beat tapes, just full of beats. And he's like, "You did this?" Like, and I was like, "Yeah." And then from there, I went and saved money and started getting my own equipment and got into Native Instruments with machines. So I started with a Machine Micro and just started producing, started making stuff, and I just never really stopped.
So you went from like playing the drums live with a proper drum kit to what? Then suddenly producing and using drum kits on a kind of
using beat machines. And stuff like that. Yeah. So now I use
how was that kind of? It must have been quite different to.
It is different, but at the same time, it's the same. Only because I come from a arithmetic background. When it comes to creating and making music, I usually start with beats anyways. So it's kind of easy for me to come up with different beat patterns and stuff like that. So it is different because, live drums, but then again, you're still working with rhythm. It's just the only difference is you're forming a whole song now. So you're adding in different elements, to form a song. So, yeah.
Do you always start with the beat? With the drum?
Not every time now. Before, I usually was like strictly start with the beat and then build my way up. But now I kind of mix it. Sometimes I might, start with a sample if I'm sampling, or maybe I might start with a melody. So it's based off of just whatever ideals form when I'm creating. So, yeah.
And in terms of producers, you sort of touched on it earlier. Who was inspiring you as, music producers?
Definitely Kanye, Pharrell, the Neptunes. So Chad and Pharrell. Marcus, because he's a very good producer. So he definitely inspired me a lot. Different people, and then, Pete Rock and, RZA, just a lot of greats. I listened to the Missy Elliott, Timbaland, Scott Storch, the list just goes on.
It's too many to name, isn't it?
So many,
it's too many to name.
Yeah.
And tell me about quality sound TV as well.
Yeah.
What's the reason? How comes you started that? What's it all about?
So QSTV started during the pandemic when everything was shut down on lockdown. We were like, what we're going to do. And as creatives, we were like, we should just create something, right? So a good friend of ours, he had his own club in Gowanus. And basically he gave us the keys to do whatever we want. If you want to create content, you want to do whatever, the keys is yours. So we would call our friends up, different creatives, and we just started creating content. So we started off making a variety show on YouTube where, just like how 106 in Park used to be, or Rap City, where you would have, little live performances, and then you show music videos and you have interviews. So we did that. So we did that while everything was on lockdown, and it was great. But then once everything started to open up, we were like, let's start forming events where we showcase all these different, artists and different creatives in the city. And we've been doing that ever since. So every month we have a thing called the Link Up, where we showcase music producers, DJs, singers, rappers, musicians. It's everything. You're getting everything in one night.
I love that. That's
back
brilliant.
to back. There's no pause or anything. It's just live music back to back for the whole night. And now we're here in London, and we brought that here, but we're also we have our people. So we have some of our friends from New York, but then we also are showcasing artists that are from here. So it's it's a good mix of New York and London talent. So.
And for anyone watching, how can people find your channel on YouTube and Insta?
So it's official QSTV on our Instagram, and it's the same on our YouTube channel. So it's QSTV official. And you can go back and see all of our previous shows that we had when we would do our QSTV shows. And then Instagram, you'll see highlights of just different creatives that you never knew even existed. So you'll see a lot of different talent. And just highlights from all of our events and stuff like that, and just new music from different people.
I mean, it's great you're doing that, because there's so much talent out there that needs a voice. I've got a friend of mine, Blade 0521 channel, who does the same thing, gets the artists in, promotes them, pushes them. It's really important what what you're doing. You got to stand proud of what you're doing.
Oh, we love it.
Totally,
we love what we do.
Yeah, because the idea was to highlight creatives and artists, because a lot of artists in New York are great, but like a lot of the venues and a lot of different places wouldn't give him the opportunity to play. And we was like, man, I was like, we know so many dope artists, let's just start creating our own events. And when we were able to create our own events, then we start partnering up with different companies to throw on these events, because at first it was just a variety show, and then we really start going out and start doing different events around town in New York. And then that kind of turned into like a whole big thing. And then in New York, there's a huge beat community. So like producers actually, you know, making beats and doing their own beat sets. So we was like, wow, I was like, this would be amazing if we can bring that over here to London, and not only bring our people, but also to create a community here too, because artists needs voices here too as well. And we were able to do that at Box Park, Croydon. We ended up doing an event there, Chip Shop, and it was just such a great success. Soul Kitchen, we played last night, and you know, that's the whole thing now, to build a community, you know, abroad and keep this thing going, because there's a lot of artists and a lot of producers that are, you know, in their room playing, but they don't have the, you know, the venues or opportunities or resources to, you know, actually go out and play.
Or the exposure.
And that's what, and also too, meeting different artists, because I feel like back in the day, you used to go to a place and you could meet so many different artists and just connect.
So any brands, any sponsors? Hit us up.
Get in touch, because you know you give a lot of your time to do this, and obviously it'd be nice to get a sponsor as well, wouldn't it?
Yeah, because I need that coat from you.
My goose.
That puffy coat.
You're my
sponsor money for that.
You're my brilliant. But I can rent it to you, Marcus. You can have it on tab.
Okay.
You can use it in one of the videos.
Yeah, one of my videos. I give you a shout out.
But yeah, keeping with you actually, Marcus. Like, tell me about some of the artists you've actually worked with as well, because like I've looked into it. You've worked with some incredible artists.
Yeah, a lot of people. Just to name a few: John Baptiste, Daniel Caesar, Robert Glasper, Georgia Ann Meldrew, Anderson .Paak, Victor Bailey, Sandra St. Victor, so many different artists all over. Jose James, Pete Rock, you know, 13 Pheromone. There's so many different, like I said, like basically what I love listening to, all different genres. The people that I end up working with is all different genres, come from many different places. So that's, you know, it's a blessing to be, you know, some of my heroes that I looked up to, and actually to call them a friend and, you know, actually call them family is crazy. So, you know, it's a blessing to do what we do, and, you know, just to be able to have fun and, you know, get better as time goes.
And you've also, you got an album out as well?
Yeah, I got 2 albums out. The first album was Aquarius Purple. That came out during the pandemic, 2021. And then my newest album that came out last year, Blue Diamonds, that's out too. And then, I'm working on 2 new albums at the moment. So, it's a lot of stuff, a lot of new music. Vic has a project. Her album is out.
Yeah, my album, Casis World, out everywhere. And it features so many different, like, talented creatives. But I produced and arranged the whole album. So that's out everywhere. And then I'm working on 2 projects now that'll be out probably next year. So one with this really dope MC from Brooklyn named Reels. So we have our project, and then another project with Ricky Stevens, which is like a completely different project that it'll be out next year.
Really? What makes it totally different?
Because with her, so Ricky's like a soulful like singer, right? But our sound is like, it's inspired by a lot of different things. So soul, but then you got a little bit of reggae, you got a little bit of dance, you got a little bit of pop. So it's a mixture. Then my project with Reels is like real, like rough, like hip hop. You know what I mean? Like soulful, hard hip hop. So 2 completely different projects, but I'm excited about both of them.
Also, too, we have our own, both of our projects, Mach 7.
Yeah, Mach 7.
Because Mach 7,
a production team as well.
So the Machado is Mach 7, and we have one record out? Yeah, that's a
2.
Black Summer, 2 records.
2.
Yeah, called Black Summer again from Mach 7 Music. Basically, it's just like all different MCs from all the different boroughs in New York. Put them on the track. Vic produced half of the track, half of the album. I produced half, and so that's out. So there's a lot of music. I have records out with Jose James. That's a live album that's out now. Maishah has a tambourine project.
Yeah, I'm studying the tambourine. I'm going to be the background in this next album.
You're the tambourine.
Just joking.
You're mastering the tambourine.
No. I do want to shout out Emily MC. She's one of my clients. She has a huge project out right now called Chocolate Bars. It's blowing up all over the place. Premier's been spinning it. She's doing a bunch of press, and she's really been doing her thing. She also has a book out as well called Notes from a Hip-Hop. I'm sorry. Y'all not gonna make me lose my mind. Notes from a Hip-Hop suicide survivor. So that book is blown. It's a memoir of her journey with mental health. So I had to shout out Emily MC.
Really?
For sure.
See, I'm really into all that stuff.
I have to give you a copy then. I got you.
I need to. I'm gonna get. I'll purchase a copy of that.
Okay.
Because that is really important.
Very much so. Yeah.
And something I touched on, earlier. Is there kind of any advice or encouragement that you can give to up and coming, musicians or artists? I mean, is it basically just don't give up, keep striving forwards?
Well, the thing is, I'd say for me, it's like you gotta have the passion, because everybody's like, yeah, only if I had the money, and it's easier to say because you're in that position, but it's like, you got to put your all into this. The more you put in, don't look for something. That's the thing. A lot of artists is putting in the work, looking to make money and looking to get some type of success. We don't know what is going to happen, but the thing is the passion. If you are able to put in those hours every day, go out there, go play, go connect with people, talk with people, go to jam sessions. If you don't know about something, ask somebody. Don't just be like, well, I'm not going to go because I'm afraid to go because I don't know. Go ask somebody. Go to a DJ. I don't care where it is. Go out there and show your face, because even if you're around and you get that opportunity, you have to stay ready so you don't have to get ready. Right. So stay ready at all times. And like I said, if you stay true to the music, it will stay true to you.
100%.
Yeah.
You nailed that. Yeah. That's bang on, Marcus. Yeah. What you said there is so true. And also, as you said, maybe treat it as a hobby. Don't do it for the fame and fortune. And it's like, and suddenly it will grow and then possibly end up blowing up and you'll be a big star, whatever. But still keep it real.
Yeah, you have to be real, because I feel like people work so hard and they do all these different things to get to a certain position where they want. And then when they get it now and they get a little success, now the whole movement and the whole people around them changes, because now you're not dealing with real people around you. Now you're dealing with people that just only want to be around you for what you have at the moment, but you forgot how hard you work to get to that moment. So always keep real ones around you. Keep your circle small. Stay focused. Don't run your mouth too much, and you should be all right.
Yes. Well said. That's all I can say. What he said, well said. Yes.
Yeah. Fantastic words. And just touching on what you said bringing out a record, the album.
Yeah.
Are you on about an MP3 or actually a physical record?
Oh no, a physical record.
Seriously? Yeah, so you're still making the vinyl?
Yeah, the vinyl. So for example, my first album, Aquarius Purple, that was the whole idea, because I was so obsessed with the quality of music. At the time, I was like, man, I want to put this record out, and I was like, I'm only going to put it out on vinyl. I'm not going to, no MP3, no nothing. And then the pandemic happened, and then I'm like, oh man, I don't know if this is going to work. Who's going to buy it? But I'm like, well, what do I got to lose? Let me just put it out and see what happens. When I put it out, everything sold out within seconds. And then everybody was like, it got such a crazy impact that people were pushing me to put it out on MP3. So then eventually I put it out on MP3. So all my records that I put out, I always put it out vinyl first, and then a few months later MP3. So yeah, I'll get you a copy. I'll get you two
sold
copies.
Out of Ronnie Scott's last
yeah, I sold out. Yeah.
Well, but believe it or not, I haven't actually got a turntable anymore.
Yeah.
No, I haven't got a turntable anymore.
Really?
Yeah, it's do you know what? I was an addict. I was a vinyl addict.
Yes.
I would love to play.
He was a vinyl.
I would need.
Vinyl head.
I would need, seriously, I would need an extra bedroom to keep the vinyl in, and I just haven't got, but I still love vinyl. I love everything about it, as I said earlier, and you can't beat the vinyl. Right. Do you love looking at the picture sleeves as well and the artwork?
Yeah.
Totally.
Was
Just
any
the
of those
credit.
kind of albums back in the day, especially them 70s albums, were amazing. You know, the artwork on there were incredible.
Crazy. Just to listen to the album, you stare at the cover, and then you look at the back, and you're reading all the credits, like who played what on this song, who mixed this song. That's what I missed, and it was a whole experience. You know what I mean? So MP3, you can't look at physically at the album. You can look at just the front cover on your phone, but other than that, you don't know who's produced this stuff. You know what I mean? So.
Yeah, it's a totally different experience without a doubt. It's like reading, like, say, a book.
Yeah,
A hard copy book, the one you get online.
Right.
You get a totally different perspective. It doesn't feel the same, does it?
Yeah.
And Maishah, what are you up to? Like, so you got some, you're managing some bands or some artists at the moment then?
Well, yeah, I manage Marcus, and I'm hoping to get this world tour going. Let's put it out there for next year. Emily MC, I mentioned, she has a Chocolate Bars album. It's out now in her book as well. We have Moon Nuba Music. She's a real dope funk kind of a vibe. I don't need to call her, but she has a whole kind of vibe herself. Working with Sandra St. Victor right now, who I know because of Marcus, obviously. Maybe you could tell about your background with Sandra. But yeah, it's just, we're kind of a collective. You know, one person's doing something, try to bring the whole family into it, because we're about the music and about everybody moving forward. And, you know, those relationships are very important to us. So that's what's going on. And just building a company, Asante Works PR, you know, one artist at a time.
Yeah, Alien Magic.
Alien Magic. That's, stay tuned. Stay tuned.
And Maishah, how can people get in touch with you? Like Instagram?
Yeah, my name is easy. It's Maishah.Hendrix at Instagram, and then same thing on Facebook, Maishah Hendrix on
Maishah
Facebook.
Hendrix,
and then my company is Asante Works PR on Instagram, same thing on Facebook. And on TikTok sometimes, but all the time.
Well, staying on the Hendrix thing, we're going to be heading over to 34 Montague Square. And because I know Jimmy rented a flat there, and he rented it off of Ringo Starr from the Beatles back in 1966. I think it's 1966. But I've been told as well that he wrote the track "The Wind Cries Mary."
Yeah, that's the one. Okay.
From that flat.
From that flat. Wow.
Okay.
So it'd be great. We're around the corner from it now, so it'd be great to get out of the cab and get some photographs, because there were some real iconic photographs pasted in that square.
Him standing in front of the sign.
And I'll pull out my camera and get some incredible photos. And one of you as well, getting in the cab as well.
Yeah, please.
I need the cape he had.
Yeah.
You can borrow my goose.
Okay,
You can borrow my goose. And Maishah, I must say, for one, what an absolute stunning, beautiful name. And for two, you look absolutely incredible. As soon as I see you,
Thank you.
as soon as I see you, you've got the rose tinted specs on, you've got the pink on, and look, I'm attention to detail, and I noticed straight away you got one pink boot on and one black boot with different laces.
It came like that, yeah. Believe it or not, it's it's
in the detail.
opposite. Yeah, it's the details.
But you look absolutely incredible.
Thank you. I'm really flattered. Thank you so much.
But as I say, listen, it was a real honour having this kind of little cosy casual chat with you guys. I can't believe we've made it happen eventually.
Yes, thank you, because we really appreciate you having this while we were here, because we're not going to be here, that long, and you just making yourself available. So
I know you've been so busy, and I know doing this touring stuff as well. You probably need a break when you get back. But
this is the break right now.
Yeah,
in the cab, right?
In the cab, chilling.
Yeah, we're chilling.
But before we get to 34 Montague Square and get some photographs, should we go out the old school way? Is there anybody you'd like to kind of give a shout out to, or do you want to give a shout out to basically everyone you know? And
shout out to the QS TV crew. Shout out to our mom. Our mom got her art gallery.
Yes. So it's at the Holy Art Gallery. What section? I don't know what section that is, but it's out here in London. So
it's in London, is it?
Yeah, it's in London.
Her art's being displayed.
Being displayed. V London.
The address on my phone.
Yeah, she goes by V London.
She goes by V London. Check out her artwork. Anybody that wants to purchase, just go to her Instagram, V London Art. Also, shout out to my daughter Valentina. She's 19 months. See you tomorrow.
19 months.
19 months. Yeah. So shout out to Baby V.
Yeah, Baby V. And Maishah, anyone you want to give a little shout out to?
I want to shout out just everybody in London because I feel like I really don't want to leave. I feel like I'm at home here.
Yeah.
London is kind of like, for me, New York is kind of a second home.
Yeah.
Where to you
It's
guys
the same.
as well.
It's the same thing.
Absolutely.
Vice versa.
Yeah,
It's the
it's
same
definitely a
thing.
vibe.
I've interviewed like Public Enemy and Michael Holman and Ultramagnetic MCs.
Yeah.
I think they also kind of see London also as a kind of second home as well. Like I see New York as a second home.
Absolutely.
There's always been that spark, that connection. And even when Jimmy was over here back in the 60s, you know, Jimmy had that connection with London as well.
Yep.
Yes.
You know, it's kind of a big deal, and we are very, very closely, you know, connected.
Absolutely.
Yeah, I definitely can see why he ended up staying. It was just the vibe is here. Like I feel different here. I definitely enjoyed Switzerland as well, and want to shout out Solitude Event for a wonderful event that we had, and Marcus got to perform. It was an amazing journey. Looking forward to doing more in 2025. Just stay tuned because there's a lot happening that we are, like Marcus said, we're not just sitting back waiting. We're making things happen. And
Full steam ahead.
Yeah.
No left turns, no right turns.
Hopefully not.
Just straight ahead.
Exactly.
Straight ahead.
Right. Yes.
But as I say, listen, it's an absolute honour to have you all in the cab, and I hope you've enjoyed this kind of.
This is a blast. This is a blast.
It's amazing. Yes.
This is amazing.
Super cool.
I love it.
Super cool.
Yeah, it's all relaxed vibes.
It
But
is. I'm used to being behind the scenes as a publicist, so I'm not usually, you know,
in front of the
so I
camera.
like it. It's all good. Yeah.
Yeah, I hate being on camera, but that's why I'm lucky I'm sat here. But listen, it's an absolute honour, and anyone watching this, please subscribe to all these channels, Quality Sound TV, support Marcus and Maishah and everyone, and it's an absolute honour, and we're going to get you round to Montague Square and go and check out where Jimmy used to live for a little while back in London back in 1966.
Let's do it. Let's do it.
So let's do it. Peace from the southeast.
Peace.